All right, y'all. I'm not really trying to shake the table too much, but do y'all feel like Beyond the Lights is a black film? Because when I was watching it back, I'm like, it got Machine Gun Kelly in it. It's got a lot of non-black folks. And I was just like, I don't know if I relate to it. So I'm curious, by a show of hands, like, who watched this before a month ago? So 2.
How many times you watched it?
I'm serious, like 20 times.
This is your movie.
I'm gonna come to you.
It's just easy to play in the background too.
I'm gonna come to you second, but first, why? Like, do you think this is a black film, and why is it not?
The biggest question is, what is a black movie? Like, what does it mean?
Well, I was gonna say, like, you going Friday, you going all these other things, and you gonna throw Beyond the Lights in there. But what is a black movie what is a black movie to you?
I think a black movie is anything that has black people in it, honestly. And even the part with Noni and her natural hair, that was a black moment. Her like letting her curls out and things like that. Was it relatable to all of us? No, because we are not pop stars like trying to.
Some of us are.
You know what I mean? Oh yeah. This
was her movie right here.
This was her life.
This is her life.
Yeah.
Playing in the background.
Exactly. So my question really is like, do we have to like relate to a movie to enjoy it or call it a black movie?
That's
Do
what
we
I
have to
was
relate to the
thinking. I was
experience?
wondering.
Yeah.
Because initially I would say if it's predominantly black people, then it's a black movie, but I never thought of Beyond the Lights as a black movie. So then I started thinking maybe it's because it wasn't directly talking about black experiences, but then it brings you to the question of what is the black experience? Because there's so many different ones, right? That's her experience. It might be for me because to your point, I see her mom throughout the whole thing and her mom is white. And then Machine Gun Kelly, I think that's the reason maybe why I'm not, and it's not, this is gonna sound not the best.
Let's go for it.
But it's not in the hood. It's not in the places where people tend to write off back. Because you even mentioned Friday. The movies that you threw out there have a common theme that people consider the black experience. But now we're starting to realize that's not the only black experience.
They had Nina Simone was like in it, you know.
That's a reference, yeah.
How black? Like that's black.
But I mean, Fresh
That is,
Prince
like,
is
history.
not necessarily always in the hood, and that's still a black film. For me, it's just a feeling.
You're
And I
from
just
the hood,
didn't
though.
get that feeling from.
Well, I mean, hanging with Mr. Cooper, I mean, you know, it's also a black experience as well, but from a different dynamic as well. But I mean, to that question, that's an overall question as well. I think it kind of hits on both, and it's a human experience because outside of the black experience, there are other cultures. We spoke about it earlier, Tiger Parents, where there is a dynamic where you're trying to reach that level, and whether the powers that may be, mom, dad, whoever, don't see it as that and wants to keep you pushing forward. It's well beyond the black experience with that example, but in the black experience, there are many spectrums within that experience that we can relate to in this film. And that's, outside of Fridays, outside of Fresh Prince, outside of Hanging with Mr. Cooper. I mean, in terms of that. But yeah, that's an overall question too. I agree with you as well. If a black sister, brother, transgender, if whoever is black in that movie, that's a black movie regardless. Rush Hour, we could talk about that forever, you know what I mean? But that kind of hits on both spectrums.
Is that a black
if the
movie?
star is black?
It's a black movie, but what about Jackie Chan and my
I think
the
if
family?
Noni would have
It's
not
an
been a pop
Asian
star,
community,
not been a pop star, been like a Beyonce or been like a rapper, then it would have became a black movie. But it was a pop story, which
That may be a good point that she's a pop star. But honestly, you've watched it like 3 dozen times.
This is top five.
Top 5? Where do you land with it?
I don't know. I mean, like listening to everyone now, I mean, I still don't really feel like it is a black movie. I think it definitely talks to, like, there's black people in it. It definitely talks to like some experiences that black people have. But like, I think overall, like when I think of Beyond the Lights, like you said, I just don't think it's a black movie. Because I don't think that that's like the subject. I don't think the subject of the movie is to talk about black culture or our experiences. They're just laid in there because there are black people in it, but it's not what I would consider a black movie. Like, I'm trying to compare it to something that I think is like a little bit light. I mean, even though that movie is
That
pretty.
was a good definition though. The focus of the movie being to encompass a black experience.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good definition, I think.
Yeah. I mean, because I feel like they're very different movies, but I just feel like you could also look at, like, let's say, have you seen Jumping the Broom with Paula Patton?
Yeah.
Like, that's a black movie to me. Like, everyone in that movie is black. all of the humor in it is black. Like if a white person goes to see that movie, like they're probably not gonna laugh at a lot of stuff because they don't know what anyone's talking about. So for that, like it's about black people, it's about what they're experiencing. It's also talking about like even the prejudice and racism that we have within our own black community. So it's just like, that to me is a black movie. Beyond the Lights is not a black movie to me. Yeah. But I've also seen it 20 times.
Right. She's the expert.
And I wonder what the creator intended, because isn't Gina, she made Love and Basketball,
Right, yeah,
and
yes.
then also Will Packer was a part of it, who they all create black films. So I really wonder what their intention was. Yeah.
Well, have you all ever felt like something was made to be a black film or a black show, but they throw a white person in it to attract others? And like, how do you feel about that?
Wasn't Kim K thrown in like some movie?
It's a Tyler Perry movie.
Yeah, it was like, what?
I was like, I feel like Tyler Perry does that sometimes, but.
Is that just so you think get a new audience?
I think so, because definitely anything that you think of coming from Tyler Perry is a black film. So I feel like sometimes he is trying to change it up a little bit. So I think sometimes the subjects of the movies and who he has in it.
You know who does a great job of that? Shonda Rhimes. Because she'll have like her the main characters be black, but then it doesn't feel like a black show. And that's probably because there's more of a mix throughout the cast. Would you say?
Yeah,
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
I would
agree with
even
that.
take it a step further, going into like reality TV. When I think of like all the shows on Lifetime, whether it's Married at First Sight, whatever, if it's black people in it, they're the main characters, they're bringing the drama, we're seeing what they live, it's a black show. Even though I think even they may not want to market it as such, it's black.
It's a black
For whatever
show.
reason, just Beyond the Lights wasn't hitting it for me. It just wasn't hitting it.
Not more than the reality shows? He's a reality show specialist, y'all.
Oh, so you like College Hill?
I
Yeah.
watch it. Oh, my jam.
Right, come on now.
I do. I don't think it's like You Got Served, like Friday. Like I don't think it's definitely like that. But I definitely feel like, you know, it's one of those movies where I feel like black people may get the most out of it. Like you took a lot from that, you know, and so yeah, I don't know.
And I'm like, they fled to Mexico. I'm like, that really ain't black. Like,
Right.
like that.
I just
So,
feel like there were a lot
you
of
know.
opportunities, especially on Noni's side, for them to talk about her black experience, but they kind of just like hinted at it. Like it wasn't in your face. So I feel like that's for me what didn't make it a black movie. Because there were so many things that you could have spoke about from Noni's side. You know, like I think we got it a lot from Kaz's side, but from Noni's side, I was like, well, she's mixed. She's raised by a white mother. Like, look at what they're turning her into. She's not wearing her natural hair. Like, you know, they were hinting at it, but it just wasn't really like the main point. You know what I mean?
And even like her hairdresser, like that was a really black moment. I think they like, I feel like they just harped on the hair thing, but there was so much more
they could have expanded
went,
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'm curious, with all this conversation about black movies, do you think there's a downside potentially in pigeonholing a movie into that category as being a black movie?
I think maybe then in 2014, 2015, the way that studios work and things like that, yes. But now I think that black culture is like the culture. It's the thing. Everyone's going to watch black movies. Everyone wants to be black, low-key. So yeah, but I think back then, for sure, it was to the detriment.
See, I feel like I kind of disagree. And I think, first of all, black culture has always been the lit thing, right? And especially when I think of other films like The Wire or even rap music, you know, which has been the highest grossing music genre for a long time, it's almost like it works opposite. I feel like when you tell specifically white people they can't do something, they're going to want to do it. And so I think oftentimes when you label, if it's a fire movie, they're going to watch it regardless, right? You tell them they can't use the N-word, they still gonna find a way to use it, right? And so I think if you label something as a black movie, but it's great and it shares a perspective they are unaccustomed to, they're going to want to watch it. The Wire, I think, is probably one of the most profitable films, maybe after the fact, which I think people learned about it after. But I think it doesn't hurt if that's the avenue you want to take. But I think you do have to understand it could come with some drawbacks. And I think in this case, I mean, I don't really think it's black anyway.
He just don't like the movie. But Do you have numbers to back that up aside from The Wire? Just because I'm like, I mean, some white people are going to see it, but the box numbers,
I mean,
as
look
far
at
as I know,
Tyler
don't align
Perry.
with.
We talked about Tyler Perry.
That's because he's always had his cult group, and they're mostly black. So I just want, I mean, I don't know if the white people is checking for it. Like
I don't
that.
have no numbers, but do you have the numbers?
I'll pull up the box office and see where the black films are right now, and I bet you they're at the bottom.
I don't know. I think there isn't a specific detriment at all if a film is labeled black. Same as if the film was a martial art film or a film that there was a movie that came out recently. I forgot the gentleman's name, but it was geared towards the LGBTQ community and how it was the first, men gay film.
They
you know
said,
what I mean?
They said it didn't perform well.
What's up?
They said it didn't perform well. What's your measure of success? That's the
What
question.
about Black Panther?
The measure.
That is an anomaly.
Yeah, it looks like a Marvel.
I was gonna say that's also the Marvel universe. That's different.
Right.
And also when it comes to like advertising and things like that, like these other films are getting these huge budgets to have huge ads and stuff like that, and like press. And the black films, quote unquote, they don't get that exposure, so they're not being seen.
But I think to what you said earlier, I think the level of success, especially when it comes to a movie, is to finally, after all the accolades of going through, the studios and getting those several drafts, and then whether snow, sleet, sun, or hail, you produce a final product to hopefully it kind of connects to the masses, whether it be a black film, a gay film, a Japanese film, Bollywood. These labels have been within cinema forever. It just takes that right individual to kind of be open-minded and say, hey, you know what? I'm gonna check this out. And kind of expand my horizon and open up my world. Yeah, to the dollars, it might not make any sense and it might not even work, but to what you said earlier, years ago, you put a black movie or that label, you're not gonna get that draw now, especially how socially conscious we are as people, or getting there, because we're not there yet. More of these films with more of these labels are gonna show up, and we just have to be ready for it and be willing to go into it.
I would even take it a step further. I think it's also depending on what black actors you put in the black movie.
Okay.
Because there's certain actors that are wide-ranging actors. They appear in black movies, they appear in these movies. They're all over the place. And so a good example is like Kevin Hart, Tiffany Haddish. I forgot what that movie's called.
It was good.
Yeah,
on Netflix.
Yeah, and it's like you look at them and it's like, as someone that's not black looks at that and probably doesn't think of that as a black movie because they're all over. These people they're international. These are universal people. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes in that frame, they don't even see color. They don't even see it as a black movie.
Chadwick Boseman, rest in peace, where, even before and leading up to the apex of it all, Black Panther, you have someone who was really not well known walking into these historical figures and really putting, heart to the pavement with all of them, from James Brown to Thurgood Marshall to, Jackie Robinson to, Black Panther. And then that net kind of get cast even further out in terms of those roles for other actors and actresses.